Hi, I'm Ed Alexander, business attorney, founder of Alexander Abramson. Welcome to our video series on selling your law practice. Today we're going to talk a little bit about kind of the overview of the ways to leave your practice, right? The ABA has indicated that there is a gray wave, right? So a lawyer population is aging. More and more lawyers are approaching retirement. And so there are ways to get out of your practice. Some of them are profitable, some of them are unprofitable. And then obviously voluntary or involuntary, right? So dying at your desk would be involuntary, right? Or you can plan out the process and make sure it works. Now, the traditional way has always been to close down your practice. But, closing down your practice is a pretty significant undertaking. The ethical rules require a lawyer to do certain things when they're leaving their law practice. And you have to make sure that you've got to notify your clients, you've got to help them find counsel or give them back their files. You've obviously got to run out the matters that you can't transfer and clearly pay the office expenses. Close up, you've got to deal with the lease. You've got to lay off your employees, pay them out to the point where you need them, and making sure that everything comes to a successful conclusion. And then kind of buy the tail coverage for yourself on the back end and, sell off your assets, go through that process. So there's quite a bit of work that has to be done if you're just going to close up and liquidate, right? So not die at your desk, but close up and liquidate. And very important to look at the rules of your jurisdiction to make sure you go through that process properly so that, you don't get a bar complaint at the end of your practice. The really bad thing is that when you close down, there's simply nothing left. Absolutely nothing left. You may get a few dollars for, your accounts receivable and for the sale of your assets, but at the end of the day, it's going to be a very small amount compared to what you've built up over a period of time. So the good news is that, it's possible to retire with a bonus, right? The bonus being in quotes. And that bonus comes from the actual sale of your practice. The other really nice thing is that for the most part, the same steps that you have to go through to close your practice are also the steps you have to do to sell your practice. Now, there's a couple of extras, but you wouldn't do those extras. You would engage a team of professionals who are experienced in that area to actually undertake those for you. It's very important. I want to really stress this issue because selling a practice can be a full-time job. Obviously, running a practice is a full-time and more than full-time job. And so if you take your eye off the ball of running your practice to turn around and sell your practice, oftentimes the practice will suffer. And that's the worst time when your practice should suffer, when you're looking for a buyer to come in, because what's the buyer going to focus on? They're going to focus on the fact that there was a bump in the road. And that's what they're going to see. They're not going to see all the great things that you did before. They're going to see the bump in the road. And so, obviously selling a firm isn't a cakewalk, right? It requires planning. We have to make sure that there's a sellable asset there. We have to go through that process and determine, is this something that another lawyer would be wanting to purchase? And if it's not, let's get in place a process to fix it, right? So sometimes the question comes up, well, what are the things that constitute a sellable asset, right? I've been making money off of this firm. I've been feeding my family, and now I'm looking to sell it. What are the aspects that make it a sellable practice? Well, of course, good intake systems, databases, electronic databases of your clients, of your referral sources. This is especially the case if your firm has an ongoing relationship with clients rather than a one-time relationship. But even if it has a one-time relationship, that database is going to have value because of the communication, because of the relationship that you've maintained with those clients. Other factors include, marketing materials. Do you have systems in your practice? Are the things that, are they such that a buyer could come in and expect to operate the practice in the manner that you've operated and receive the income that you've received out of it. And those are all factors that we typically look to and consider. And so the important process here is that, or important thing to remember here is that, I'm sure that in your practice, you have clients who come to you thinking that they can do what you do, right? So they can do their own divorce, they can do their own estate plan, they can do their own whatever the case may be. And of course, you have experience, years of experience doing this. And you know the ins and outs and the intricacies, and you know where the landmines are and options for improving value to your clients. The same applies in this circumstance. The IBBA, the International Business Brokers Association, talks about how getting an intermediary involved in your transaction typically increases the value that the owner receives by somewhere in the neighborhood of 20%. Now, I don't know if the 20% number is right or not, but if it is, it clearly more than pays for the cost of bringing on that professional to make that transaction happen. But more importantly, it makes the transaction more likely to occur, and also eases that process through. As a successful attorney, you should be excited about the prospect of selling your law firm and realizing the benefits of the hard work that you put into building it. With the right advisors, you can profitably and successfully sell your law practice. Regardless of your time frame, your first step to capitalizing on the investment you made is to develop a succession plan that works for you. Call or email us today to ask about our sale readiness assessment. During your sale readiness assessment, we'll help identify your firm's strengths and weaknesses and develop a transition strategy that fits your particular circumstances. Until next time, thanks for watching.